Two of the best three-point shooters in NBA history are going to face off tonight with their teams heading in very different directions. The Bucks have won 6 straight thanks to some stellar defensive play, holding their opponent below 110 points in each of their last 6 games. That's their longest such streak over the last 2 seasons. And they're going to visit a Warriors squad that's had a difficult time closing games, ranking last in defensive efficiency in the fourth quarter and second to last in fourth quarter points differential. That issue didn't really matter on Sunday when the Warriors lost to the Celtics by 52 points, their third largest loss in franchise history, although they're still 5-2 since the All-Star break. For more, we bring in our Warriors reporter, Kendra Andrews. And Kendra, why is this 52-point loss that I keep bringing up not a concern for the Warriors?
Yeah, Shay, the Warriors really have a flush it down the toilet mindset when it comes to that game. And they look at that 3-1 road trip as a wild success. And now, Shay, they're going to be whole. They're going to have their whole roster for the first time since November. Andrew Wiggins is going to make his return to the court tonight after missing the last 4 games due to a personal family matter. And it feels a little bit like 2 years ago when they won that 22 championship. They weren't healthy until this point of the season, and then they went on a massive run. Now, they have an important stretch over the next 6 to 10 games, and they have some opportunities to gain some ground in that play-in picture, maybe even avoid it as they match up against some of the teams that are also in that hunt. But of course, first, they have a big test against the Bucks tonight. And the Warriors, they have struggled recently, even during this good stretch, against top teams in the league, like the Celtics, like the Nuggets. They're going to try and change those tunes tonight against Milwaukee.
That makes sense. Well, in that loss to the Celtics, that was 52 points. I guess Steph Curry didn't play in the second half. I don't know if it mattered because he had such a horrific first half. Nonetheless, as you mentioned, Kendra, tonight begins a 3 games in 4 nights homestand with the Warriors. Kendra, thank you so much. For more on the Bucks and that game tonight, we go over to Matt.
We now bring in our Bucks reporter, Jamal Collier. He's out there in the Bay Area getting set for the game against the Golden State Warriors. And 6-game winning streak for the Bucks, Jamal. Some people thought it wasn't a matter of if, but when Doc Rivers got this team going. It's happening now. What impact has he made on them?
Yeah, Matt, when I talked to Doc, coming right out of the All-Star break, before this 6-game winning streak even began, one of the things he pointed to that gave him confidence was the defense, and really that they could reach maybe an elite level of defense that didn't seem possible when he first took the job. You got to remember, they were a bottom 10 defense for most of the year under Adrian Griffin, and Rivers really, one of the things the players have appreciated is just giving them clarity. He went around in practice and sort of defined everybody's roles very clearly, called people out and said, hey, this is what you need to be doing on defense. This is what you're doing, and showed in film why it's not working. And I think that it's really just turned this Bucks team around, that they're all playing for each other. They're playing together, and they have a whole lot of confidence on that end of the floor.
Yeah, quick refresher. He took over the job at midseason. Not an easy thing to do to get everything to gel, but it appears he's doing that, especially with Damian Lillard, 41 points in that comeback win over the Clippers on Monday night. Superstar-loaded team. What has Dame specifically said about how Doc Rivers has come in and maybe helped him?
And I think that was one of the biggest emphasis coming in right from the start. Doc looked at the playbook that the Bucks have been running and the plays they've been running and said, Dame had a lot of plays in Portland that used to give Doc's fits trying to coach against, and they weren't running any of those plays. And that was one of the first things that Doc, especially coming out of the All-Star break, he emphasized to me is we have to get Damian Lillard going. And Dame has been open about how he's struggled getting comfortable, adjusting to a new situation in a new role. And you really saw it in action against the Clippers. He was aggressive when he needed to be. He really kind of turned into vintage Damian Lillard performance, using the Clippers' aggression in a game without Giannis, without Chris Middleton, to bait them into double teams and set up his teammates, and really just looked much more comfortable on the floor. So I think that for Dame going forward, that it's going to be one of the emphasis for the Bucks to keeping him playing at this level.
Look, I know it's been
the
Celtics all year in the Eastern Conference, but if there's one team that they don't want to have to deal with, especially when this thing starts to go, it's the Bucks, who face the Warriors tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Jamal, good stuff. Thank you.
It's like Damian Lillard just needed the All-Star break. He just needed the game, the three-point shooting contest, all of the things. For more, we bring in our NBA analyst, Austin Rivers. And Austin, what have you seen from Damian Lillard here post-All-Star break?
Well, we're starting to see him be aggressive. It looks like he's starting to get back to himself in terms of, whether he's hunting for his three-point shot, he's mixing it up, getting to the basket, still creating. And I think there was a little bit of hesitation when he first came here. When you think about Damian Lillard, you have to realize this guy's never played with a guy like Giannis before. He's been used to, you talk about his time in Portland. This was a guy historically who the whole system was based around. And now suddenly he goes to a team where he's playing with not an all-star, but a superstar like Giannis. That's going to take time to adjust. And then you add to the fact that obviously they have a new coach, new schemes, new plays. It's very encouraging to hear that, Doc is now implementing some of the things that led to Damian Lillard's success in Portland. So you just want to see him continue to be aggressive. That way you can get the, Dame time.
I love hearing you call him Doc. That's my favorite part of this instead of Dad. That works really good. By the way, the Bucks are the only team that's undefeated since the All-Star break in the association, but they're chasing those Celtics. So let's go to the Celtics because they blew a 22-point lead with 9 minutes to play last night. And so, Austin, that fourth quarter against the Cavaliers, do you think it was a bad quarter or a bad sign for Boston going forward?
It was a bad quarter. I mean, this team has been the best team in the NBA all season long. They've been dominant. They haven't lost a game in a month. When we talk about starting lineups, I think this team has the most complete starting lineup in basketball. The only team that's even in that conversation with them would probably be Denver when you talk about a team that has players put together as more complementary. So, listen, last night was a freak accident. Dean Wade had a great game, credit to him. He had 20 points in the fourth quarter, more than the entire Celtics team. I do think they have to close games better. It can't just be iso ball, especially late in the playoffs. You can't just always rely on the brilliance of a Jaylen Brown or a Jason Tatum. But overall, man, the Celtics have been, dominant this year, and I don't see why that's going to change anytime soon.
Perhaps it makes it an even worse quarter, though, considering they didn't have Max Strus or Donovan Mitchell on the floor. Dean Wade definitely stepped up. Is it Dad? I think you call him Pops, right? It's Pops, right?
Yeah, I call him Pops. But he is my dad, so either or
Either
work.
one.
It's all good, man.
All right,
yeah.
okay. Next time.
That's the old head, man.
I'm on fire.